Game number 19 for the Celtics as they take their talents to South Beach to take on Hassan Whiteside and the Miami Heat. Welcome into another edition of the Celtics pregame report. I'm your host, Josue Pavone, alongside my dude, Taylor Snow of Celtics.com, who's here to not only preview this matchup, but talk about this incredible stretch that we've been seeing out of the Boston Celtics. Taylor, the Celtics made it 16 wins in a row at Dallas on Monday. Kyrie Irving scored a season-high 47 points, and what was more impressive than the fact that he only needed 22 attempts to get there. He shot 72% from the floor, which was more than double the amount of points that we saw out of Jaylen Brown, who, of course, finished with over 20 points for the third consecutive night. 22 points as the backcourt duo combined for a whopping 69 points. Taylor, could we be watching the beginning stages of this season's best Eastern Conference backcourt duo? Or are we overhyping Jaylen Brown and thinking that he can sustain this level of success all year long?
Well, they sure played like it last night. I mean, in the first quarter, they were 11 to 12 combined, which, I mean, it was an unreal quarter for the two of them. But, yeah, lately they've been playing like they deserve to be in the conversation for best backcourt in the East. But at the same time, I don't think they're ready to be part of that debate just yet, just because you have guys like John Wall, Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, who have, gained the respect over the years. So I feel like we have to see a full season of Jaylen doing what he's been doing in order to even consider dishing out that kind of respect. Kyrie, obviously one of the best point guards, if not the best point guard in the East, but Jaylen, he still has a ways to go. I don't think it'll take him that long because he has, this unique combination of talent and drive that should get him to all-star status in no time. He's not one of these guys that just sits back and lets the talent do the talking. He works and works hard at honing his craft. He's got kind of that Mamba mentality, I guess. So, a couple of years from now, I think they will be the best backcourt duo in the East. DeRozan and Lowry, they're getting older. John Wall's a couple of years old, and Kyrie Beal's a couple of years old, and Jaylen. So, in a matter of a couple of years, I think they could be the best backcourt combo in the East, if not, best in the league.
Yeah, that's a good point, Taylor. I mean, Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so I guess it is way too soon to be talking about the best backcourt duo. But, of course, you know how it is in Boston, man. Everyone is getting hyped over this, what Jaylen Brown's been able to do. What's impressed you the most about his game? I mean, 3 consecutive games, really efficient on offense as he's continued to strive and blossom into, like you said, a potential all-star in the making.
I think his shooting has really impressed me the most. I mean, he came into the league and people were talking about him being defensively ready to contribute. But he wasn't really respected as a shooter coming into the league, and I think he shot like 29% from 3 at Cal. But the thing about playing at Cal was they didn't space the floor obviously as much, and he didn't have as many open looks. But I mean, this year, he's shooting lights out from 3, and I mean, Tatum too. I mean, Tatum's shooting 50%. It's just incredible for these young guys to be able to transition so well to shooting the three-point ball.
So the last time the Celtics faced the Heat, it wasn't an easy feat, but they eventually did beat them. But the game was without Hassan Whiteside. Now, Miami leaped out to a quick lead before the Celtics responded with a big-time third quarter and eventually pulled away with a 96-90 win in Miami. Taylor, how will Whiteside change Brad Stevens' approach this time around? And which other Heat players do you think will come up big against the Celtics tonight?
I think one of the reasons why that win wasn't so easy was just because Boston was still in the early stages of adjusting post-Hayward. So, really any opponent at that time was a big challenge for them. If they were to face Miami without Whiteside right now, I think they'd torch the Heat. But, obviously he'll be playing tomorrow, and he's been a huge obstacle for the Celtics in the past. I think we saw him 4 times last year. He averaged like 19.5 points, 14.5 rebounds, something like that in those games.
Yeah, something ridiculous. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and the promising thing about this year's Celtics is they've done pretty well against the star big men that they've faced. They've gone from 4th worst rebounding team in the league to the 2nd best right now, and they have a guy in Aaron Baines who he'll likely get the start tomorrow, I would think, against Whiteside, and he has the strength to combat him at the rim. They didn't really have a big, strong guy like that last year. Whiteside will obviously, I think he'll still pose a challenge. A guy like Dragic should supply plenty of offense for them. So, this game, this shouldn't be an easy game either for them.
This edition of the Celtics pregame report is being brought to you by DraftKings.com. Head over to DraftKings.com and use the promo code CLNS for a free sign-up with your first deposit and a shot at a share of $10,000 in total prizes and win some serious cash. That's DraftKings.com. Use the promo code CLNS and get yourself paid. So, Taylor, what happens tonight? Give me a prediction here. Do the Celtics stretch this winning streak, or does it end in Miami before they head back home for a home game after Thanksgiving?
I mean, I think I can't pick against the Celtics until they lose, so I think they'll continue to win tonight. Miami's the toughest opponent on this road trip. I mean, that's what happens when you play the two worst teams in the league the last two games. But I just don't think Miami has enough depth, and their big name players haven't been overly impressive. And I mean, the Celtics are just on the roll right now, so I'm going to roll with the Celtics until they lose.
All right, you heard it here. Taylor Snow. Make sure you check him out on Twitter, guys. Give him a follow at Taylor C. Snow. You can check out all of his content on Celtics.com. Taylor, man, I appreciate you taking the time, and I'll see you soon.
Yep, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics pregame report, guys. Make sure you check out the Celtics postgame show on CLNSmedia.com directly after the game. I will be hosting, so you better tune in and give me a call at 347-215-7771 after the game if you want to join me. Or if you want to sit out and not join me, you can also listen to us on demand on the CLNS Media mobile app. The weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel, on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.